I'll just dive right in. My name is Jing. I'm the brand manager for Star Wars, and we have with us, I'm sure you guys all recognize, Chris, the designer.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so I'll dive quickly in because I know you guys have a lot of questions and we want to get to as much of them as possible. I'm just going to go through in order of like the list I have here. Chelsea from Boba Fett fan club.
Hi, thank you so much for having this. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm very excited to see that there are more Book of Boba Fett figures coming to both the Vintage and Black Series lines. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why those are coming a bit later than figures for some of the later shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor. I don't know, I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant process of getting figures out when you see them in entertainment and partnering closely with Lucasfilm on, getting those right figures in the line at a certain time. So we've had Boba Fett, so sometimes some of the other lingering ones could happen a little bit after the newer ones that we see, which is to be expected. We definitely want to partner with Lucasfilm and get the new entertainment stuff out when relevant, as much as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Jake from Zuckus.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you again for doing this. I'm going to jump down to my first question was Indiana Jones, but I heard that we were going to stick to Star Wars for this interview. So I guess my question is, will we be doing Indiana Jones interviews potentially in the future?
That's a question for Whitney.
Yes, possibly. Stay tuned.
Perfect.
All right.
You gave up a question for that.
I
Man.
know. It's wow. Indiana Jones, go Indy.
Oh man, the hype is real. I don't know if you've seen, but we're very excited.
Yeah, which is great. It's a great line. Lacey, Star Wars Newsnet.
So speaking of excited, fans are pretty pumped to celebrate Return of the Jedi next year. Personally, it's my favorite of the original trilogy. There is a lot of interest around this Endor playset. There always are a lot of excited fans with playsets and world building. Why specifically this playset, and what can fans expect from this anniversary line? Is it going to be like a 50th where it goes all year long? What can we expect to see?
There's a lot coming. Yes. Year-long celebration, I would say. For that playset specifically, we thought like that's just such a great scene with hero characters, lots of bad guys, other things around it that make sense for world building. So there's more to come. I mean, you guys saw we pipelined some really fun stuff that nests nicely with that, but there's even more in the coffers for you coming. So I think you'll be excited.
We haven't even entered 2023 yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've pipelined a lot, but we're excited for such a big end of original trilogy 40th celebration for us, which is huge.
That awesome to hear. And if you do an Endor Ewok village, I wouldn't be upset about it.
That'd be a different price point than that standard playset size.
Right. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
John, Vintage Collection Facebook.
Hey, Jing and Chris, thanks for having us on. So I'll just jump down to my related question to the Return of the Jedi here. Obviously, it's great to see reissues of Barge and Skiff Guards coming back to celebrate the anniversary. While we know you can't give any specifics, TVC fans more than anything want all new, never before done guards or updates to very outdated ones, like Barada and stuff like that. At the very least, can you confirm that this type of Return of the Jedi news is not done?
Our Return of the Jedi news is not done. Yes, I will confirm that for you. Otherwise, just stay tuned.
All right.
You guys know we can't comment on things we haven't announced yet, but yeah, there are more announcements coming. We can't say that.
You can just blink twice. It's okay. So. Thank you.
Tim or Charlton. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Tom.
Hi there, I'm Tom from Victoria's Cantina. Howdy, everyone. Let's see that. Oh, that's just my cat. All right, because we're talking about the Return of the Jedi stuff, one of the questions Victoria wanted me to ask was, there's been much discussion among collectors about new versions of Huttslayer Leia in both scales. Is it reasonable for fans to expect that new versions of Leia in this outfit will come out eventually? Given the preference, the new photoreal face and stuff like that. Any chance?
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo what Chris had said in the last question. We can't comment on anything that hasn't been announced, of course. But it's certainly something that we always look and partner closely with Lucasfilm on whatever figure makes sense to come out. Oh,
Thank you.
all right, back up to the top, Chelsea.
Hello again. Let's see. So I would love to know, this is more of like a process question. Does Lucasfilm give guidance on which series characters in particular should be made into action figures? Or, does Hasbro decide based upon the concept art they're given? I'd just love to know a little bit more about that kind of process and the decision making.
Well, I would say there's not guidance from Lucasfilm. It's a partnership with us and Lucasfilm. Like we're sitting down, we're looking at what stuff's coming, what makes sense, how many new tool versus partial tool versus pack refresh sort of things we want to do, and just kind of finding a balance and doing it hand in hand with Lucasfilm. So there's a lot of back and forth discussion, what assets are available, what makes sense for which figures and what timing. So yeah, partnership is the key word there. It really is that.
Absolutely. I'm sure those meetings are really fun too.
They are.
Be able to
They are a
discuss
lot of
those
fun.
kinds of new things.
Yeah, it's a big family, and some of us have been doing this with Star Wars and with some of the same people for a very long time, and it's getting together with old friends just like you guys to sit around and talk Star Wars figures. It's a blast. So
that's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, talk shop.
Yeah,
which just happens to be Star Wars, which is we can't complain. Jake.
All right. Question number 2. We know a lot of things changed during the developmental period of products. And while you, of course, like you just said, you're working with Lucasfilm to design new media. But the question is the Andor logo that's being used or shown at Hasbro PulseCon on the Vintage Collection packaging the version you'll be using? Or will it be updated to reflect the more accurate one that's now in the series opening title card?
well, the one on the package is the one we're using going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was one that was used with trailers and is an official logo. So I mean, I wouldn't say the new one's more accurate. It's just a different logo. So.
All righty. Thank you.
Lacey.
Hello again. So there's been some criticism about the move from packaging with the window and plastic to the boxes with no window. There's been incidents of people stealing figures out of boxes in stores prior to purchase. You can't view the figure. I know some people like myself are a little crazy and they like to look at the figures and pick which one they want in the store. So are there any plans to go back to the old packaging, or what's your plan going forward to meet this criticism?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I would say, like, I think we've said it in these interviews in the past, like, we are very proud of Hasbro for doing what's right for the environment, and for the future generations. So that's something we are proud to work for a company with that level of dedication with that. That being said, like, obviously the conversations that have been happening are not ignored. We do have a dedicated team set up to, of course, constantly monitor and address and look into things like that. So yeah, for now, we're definitely like proud of what we're doing, and we defer to this dedicated team to definitely continuously talk to us about, moving forward. But yeah, we're glad that we are actually making the strides forward.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. John, Facebook.
All right, keeping with the Return of the Jedi theme from earlier, it's great to see the reissued announcement of VC56 Cathaba. And it reminded us that the original designer, Brian Parrish, made specifications in the design notes for Kithaba with intent to repurpose him for Barada. We hope Hasbro has kept this in mind, please.
Are you wanting a specific figure, maybe?
Yes.
That's something we all do. It's like as part of building a robust and powerful line that we can flex and do different things in the future. We're doing that constantly for figures. So anytime we do a new one, it's trying to think as far forward about what we can do with that figure. I mean, that figure's no different. So, I mean, no plans or anything to announce, but it's not off the table.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cool. All right, Tom, close us out. Victoria's Cantina. And sorry
Oh.
for mispronouncing your name earlier. I just blurry-eyed morning.
Oh no, that's totally fine. It's no worries at all. My last name is a weird jumbled mess of consonants. I just learned that Barada and Kithaba are actually different characters. I thought they were the same guy, so that's kind of fun. All right, let me swing over to my favorite thing right now. I'm going to go to question number 5 from Victoria. Retro Collection A New Hope Wave 2 was announced a few months ago, but so far no pre-order date has been announced. Do you have an update on when these can be pre-ordered? Hint, today?
Right now. No, I'm just joking. No, that's we will definitely try to keep you guys as much updated as possible. Nothing to share, but obviously can hear the eagerness of trying to get things in hand. We'll definitely keep that in mind and keep in contact. Okay, going back up. Chelsea.
Awesome. Very excited. I know that you can't really comment on, kind of new things that are coming out, but could we potentially, I'm from Boba Fett fan club, so I have to ask, could we potentially be seeing more Boba Fett or Book of Boba Fett figures like maybe Garza Whip or even a Max Rebo pipelined in the future? You don't have to make any specific comments, but all of us have really been excited about the Book of Boba Fett, and it would be cool to see more figures.
Yeah, you stay true to your name, Chelsea. Stay true to your site. As you know, we can't comment on anything that hasn't been announced or anything along those lines, but we love to hear excitement and thumbs up on camera when we get to hear them. So thank you for continuously bringing that up. So
Yeah, and props to Max Rebo. And
oh man,
he's my on Teams. He's my little image icon that I use at work. Is Max Rebo? Yeah,
that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, I'll be looking out for that keyboard.
Just everybody remember, Max Rebo plays with his feet, not with his hands.
Yep.
Chris types with his. No, just kidding.
Very dedicated.
I'm not that flexible. Yeah.
Jake.
All right. Question number 3, I think we're on. Will the new skiff guards, will the newly pipelined skiff guard reissues be a part of the main line or part of a specialty wave with different skins or SKUs?
Yeah, I think this has been brought up in the past, and I remember that there was discussion about moving to a different 5 digits so that it doesn't block pegs. What we thought for these 40th items is that these are really desired by our hardcore fan base so that they wouldn't be blocking pegs per se. So they are part of our mainline 5 digit, and they will be out there. Obviously, we work closely with the retailers and the markets to make sure they order the right quantity for the demand of the items, so that we keep things flowing. But yeah, so they will be on the mainline assortment.
All righty. Thank you.
Yeah. Lacey, Star Wars news.
Hey, how's it going? So we heard it a little bit earlier, but products with certain specific shows haven't lined up with their release dates. So I was wondering if you could provide some detail into what determines certain timelines, like what factors go into that timeline to give fans a little bit more transparency on like why things take certain time.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously work very closely with Lucasfilm on getting the content downloads, which we're so lucky to be able to have those conversations with. And there are definitely characters that, come out a little bit later than at the moment of show. So we do have our development time, which has been said in the past, which is like a year to 18 months, and that still holds true. So it's just something like, do we have enough information? Is it, the right timing, everything along those lines. So it does mean that some assets come out or some figures come out a little bit later. And we trust inherently in our partnership with Lucasfilm and making that right choice, because sometimes there are items that are so secret that are held back, like Baby Yoda, for example, and that was so huge for the world to experience that in that moment. So we will continuously try to push items out as soon as they make sense.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. John.
All right. I'm sure you're probably going to get this question a lot today. So many fans were shut out of ordering the new Stormtrooper from, in the States from Walmart, and did not nearly get the amount they wanted to Army build. Can we assume once the exclusivity window runs out that these will be offered, in other channels, possibly fan channel or whatnot? That seems to kind of be a theme lately with some of these exclusives. So any thoughts on that? Any info you can share?
Yeah, you're right. Have heard this question in general.
And next year, the only thing we're doing in TVC are Stormtroopers. That's it. Every figure is a Stormtrooper next year.
Yeah, because John asked for it. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, it's something that we, one, it's good that it was such highly demanded for that figure, and that's awesome to hear from the fan base. Obviously, it's a classic Stormtrooper. We'll constantly keep that in mind in the way to get that out for our fan base in the way that makes sense. But yeah, we also work closely with Walmart as well. So we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, great. Yeah, and people, carded collectors especially, would love it on that classic card back as well. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Star Wars isn't Star Wars without Stormtroopers. So yeah.
Yep. It's a great figure. So thank you.
Yeah, we get it.
Tom.
I've watched the first four or five episodes of Andor. I don't know. I think we can still have Star Wars without Stormtroopers. But spoiler alert. But I'm going to follow up with a Stormtrooper related question from Victoria here. The new Walmart exclusive Stormtrooper is a tremendous effort. We are grateful that Hasbro is now including rocker ankles in more figures, such as the Stormtrooper. However, another recent innovation that has changed how fans engage with their figures is barbell hips. Posing is so much easier and looks more natural. Would it be too much to ask for another updated definitive Stormtrooper that features barbell hips?
It's never too much to ask. But timing for that, it's about balancing things and how we evolve the line as we go forward. So keep asking. And like that's the sort of thing where like we do, like we evolve the figures over time, and barbell hips became more and more doable, and we started to integrate those, and we love them. I think they're great. So if we evolve that figure in the future, I would guess that it would probably get barbell hips, but we don't have plans for that currently.
Awesome. Thank you.
I like that these are requests.
Yes.
Chelsea, round 4.
Cool. So we're very excited about the Boba Fett's Throne Room TVC playset that's coming out. Emily did just a really great job designing that. And I was wondering what the challenges involved are with creating all those new accessories and, making all the new tooling and deciding on like paint apps and that kind of thing. I'd love to get a little bit more insight into that process.
For that one specifically, or?
I mean, just for that one specifically, or if you could just kind of like generally talk about it. I mean, I'd love to hear whatever you want to divulge.
Well, I mean, those things, it's just part of the process where, I mean, we'll go through and we'll look at trying to balance, because every time we put deco on something, it's adding to the cost of it, and that propagates to you guys. And I mean, is it important to have the tiny clear glass pieces painted with like little gold details? No, probably not. So like balancing that sort of thing and working with the team and with Lucasfilm to make those calls and find the right balance on detail. Obviously, we want to add all the detail in the world to these things. I mean, and you can see it in our passion for those. And Emily specifically on that playset, all like 50 accessories, I think we've counted in
50
there.
accessories,
And
yeah.
it's amazing to see that thing in person and to play with those pieces. It's a constant balance of a bunch of different things, but I think we netted out in a good place there. I hope you guys feel the same.
I love it. I mean, the amount, like you were saying, the amount of detail and like the amount of pieces. I am very excited to get mine fall 2023.
Pre-orders are closing, people.
Yes,
It is
true.
closing tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, and for like I think some folks have, seen it at the live events this year with Celebration and SDCC, for example, and it's just amazing to see like in person laid out, especially at Celebration where we have like that huge place. But yeah, Emily pours her heart and soul into everything that she designs, as I'm sure you guys all know. So it's her passion project, and we're excited for it to come out.
Thank you.
All right, from Furlong to Zuckus, Jake.
All right. Just to set the record straight, as many collectors of late have been confused, what role does Hasbro play when setting the MSRP for the products that appear on store shelves? An example of late would be the price confusion that many have had for the Vintage Collection Target exclusive figures that appear priced anywhere from $14 to $20.
Yeah, so I would say, we partner closely with our retailers for sure. We love working with all of them, but we do not dictate any pricing by any means. So we definitely defer to them to set up their own pricing as they see fit.
Got it.
Lacey.
Hello again. With everything that's happened this past year with HasLabs, how are you approaching your next HasLab?
Next HasLab.
And that's not a question of like, what is it? It's more of a, what's the process?
I mean, we're constantly looking at learnings across brands on our own team, like listening to fans, talking to fans at conventions, which has been so amazing this year to get back to that.
That is great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and just to sit there and get honest feedback from people. And fans are great in person. Like, I feel like there can be some, what feels like toxicity online when it's anonymous.
You're saying people are nicer when they're face to face?
When they're face to face, it's amazing. And I feel like even when someone has feedback that isn't patting us on the back and giving us hugs, it's good feedback and it's honest feedback, and that's amazing. And we're listening to that sort of thing, and all that goes into what, like, in a HasLab world, what's new in entertainment, what's exciting, what's popular, what's worked in the past, what's worked for other teams, and it's a big giant process of figuring all those things out, and if we even want to do something. So yeah. And
awesome. Well, I have to say,
feedback from fans is a major part of that.
Awesome. And your panel at Celebration was really great. It was like a rock concert. I was not expecting that. It was really, really fun.
It was our first in person.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and it was like really good to get to do that.
Well, we're, like we've said so many times, we're fans too, and celebrating what we do with people that enjoy what we do, it's fantastic. So
yeah, I've never been described as like, or like any of us, as I'm sure Chris, a rock concert.
That's what it was. It was crazy. Patrick's in there like showing up with lightsabers. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
And I had trouble finding like a lightsaber to give away. It was definitely a lot of fun. Just to echo what Chris said, though, for sure, we do, of course, read comments, pay attention across the brands. For Star Wars, even, like, we definitely listened to all the comments that are out there, the articles, the videos that fans posted on YouTube, for example. So it's definitely a listening exercise for sure, and we definitely keep a close ear to that. And especially for those that were like so genuine and broke it down and really thought of it in all angles, like we absolutely appreciate that. So thank you for all the fans that are there telling us and communicating and supporting us in ways. And that's what's great about HasLab is that we it's like voting. Like we get to get a sense of what works for everyone across all of the different brands, and then we take that and we know what fans want and what they don't, and then hopefully that just further refines our process for the future.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys do another one.
All right, John.
All right, that's a good segue into my next question here. So many TVC collectors were surprised to see a lack of TVC HasLab. I guess we got the Razor Crest a couple of years ago. We're ready for another one, especially with the opportunity to coincide with Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary. As we know, TVC HasLabs are 2 for 2, batting 1,000. And we're ready to back another. Can we expect another TVC HasLab in the near future? And are some of the announcements like the new playset that was announced, the Bunker playset, or the Book of Boba Fett playset, maybe hindering that because of all this stuff happening next year?
Well, I mean, those wouldn't be a hindrance to doing anything if we were going to. To be very clear, like no news on HasLabs, none of that to share with you guys. But it's an exciting time, and like we just said about the HasLabs, all that feedback and stuff is amazing. And we're super excited for all the Return of the Jedi things. That Book of Boba Fett throne room, like that's a massive piece and was a new thing we wanted to do to find a place somewhere between mainline and HasLabs. And I think that hit a very nice spot for everybody, where a nice big piece available in a larger way. So yeah, it's I mean, we talk about this all the time. It's an evolution of how we get things to fans. So,
and I'll just say I haven't been to the last few conventions, so I'll just tell you here, I would love a figure dream pack. I know we've peppered you with a few questions about that, but TVC fans would love a figure dream pack, please.
I will say, just put that stuff online, do a deep dive into what you want, do our work for us.
Okay.
We love it when you guys do that. It makes it so much easier.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just another forum to definitely keep a close ear on what the fan community is asking for. It's so funny. Lacey's like, I'm not asking if you're doing. John's like, I want to know. Can we announce?
Trying to be polite.
And I feel like I could write cue cards for myself. One that just says no HasLab, like no announcements.
No, fans are asking. So John, thanks for nothing to announce at this point for sure, but good to know that fans are eager and ready.
Got it. Thank you.
Oh, Tom.
Hello again. Just want to reiterate or the Book of Boba Fett throne room. That is a place that I've wanted since 1983. That and the sail barge, which now I have. So really excited to get that. But all right. So again, this is another one you're not going to be able to tell us. So consider it a request. We love that Hasbro is honoring 40 years of Return of the Jedi. However, A New Hope is celebrating 45 years this year, and the Vintage Collection collectors still do not have a definitive version of Luke, Han, Leia, or Ben Kenobi in their collections. Do you have a time frame you are working with for these characters when they'll finally get their due? So again, just consider it a request.
Request considered and heard. Yeah, we don't have anything. We don't have anything to tell you guys, but it's on our mind.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and we definitely balance that with all the great entertainment coming out as well. But we've heard the request, so thank you for raising it up.
We might have asked that at San Diego Comic-Con as well.
Yes. No, it's a recurring ask, and I mean we're fans. You guys have seen Emily's shelves behind her on live streams in the past. I mean, you understand that it's not just about what we do during the day. It's our lives. So we get it.
Speaking of shelves behind you, I imagine that is your home. You can tell me it's your office, but I want that, Chris, to be your home behind you.
This is my apartment. Yeah.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
This is not. Yeah, this is my apartment. I mean, when I moved up here to take the job, I'm in a much smaller space than I was in my house in Cincinnati. But yeah, this is
bigger than my space in Brooklyn.
Some of the stuff that keeps it home, like there's my original Kenner figures back there that I reference daily.
That's fantastic.
I mean, Brooklyn, it's a different world.
Yeah, I couldn't do this from my work office. There's too much behind me there that would give things away for you guys.
I think the next request is going to be, Chris, can you do these from your office?
No, we want cribs episodes of your guys' homes and collections.
Interesting. All right, Chelsea, take it away.
All right. So I was wondering, is there a kind of like innovation within the either Black series or TVC line, that you are particularly excited about, whether it's kind of like the new, like the rocker feet, that kind of thing. I'd love to know if there's anything that you're like, oh man, that's changing the game.
Man, I don't know that there's any one thing specific. I think it's the fact that we have the ability to constantly improve on things and stuff that works well. I mean, the barbell hips are a great example of that. The rocker ankles. I mean, rocker ankles don't cost us any more to add to a figure, but they add a whole different level of articulation. All it's doing is turning the pivot point around, and it adds a nice new level of thing to those figures. So it's finding little things like that are meaningful to us. And I think for the design team and all of us really, finding those things is what's exciting for us. And it's not about the thing itself, it's about the process to find the thing sometimes. So
Awesome. I love that.
Definitely both. And like Chris said, we're never ending learning and trying to adapt and improve for sure. Like even in FX Elite, Chris and the team came out with new features that were just never before done and just wanted to get that code in, for example, with the dual effect battle sequence, which were new features with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan FX Elite. So it's across the board. We're constant learners, students.
Yeah, that must be super fun. I mean, like just coming to work and kind of experimenting and, seeing what's new. I think that would be a really cool part of the job.
Yeah, we work long, hard hours, and none of us can wait to get back and do it again the next day. So
thank you.
Yeah, we dream about it for sure. Jake.
All right. Question number 5. Can you share with us the design choices behind deciding which accessories to come with the new Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary Wicket? Notably, the bolo he misuses during the Battle of Endor is missing and replaced with what looks kind of like generic clubs.
Well, this is a fun one. So everything in that pack, Wicket uses in the movie, with the exception of the bow and arrow. There are scenes from the movie where he uses all that other stuff. So that was all things that we wanted to get in there. The bolo specifically was a choice not to do that because it's a couple of fine strings with rocks on them. It wasn't going to translate well in plastic for him. But all those other ones were ones to your point of things he uses in the movie. Like they are things he uses. I mean, some of them are pretty fleeting glimpses, but they are Wicket accessories. And then the bow and arrow is just one that felt natural and something. I mean, we see plenty of other Ewoks using it.
Sure.
So it felt like a nice kind of natural replacement for the bolo that would have been a harder thing to do justice to. I think it would have looked a little weird to have big fat strings going out to little rocks and
maybe get the spinning action. Maybe. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lacey.
All right, so for the Hasbro PulseCon, I loved watching talent unbox their figures. I thought it was so fun to see them kind of interact with their characters. Who is someone that you'd love to see unbox your stuff? And are you waiting to see Mark Hamill unbox that saber? Because I would love to see it.
Man,
Jing, you
that
wanna
would
go
be the
first?
dream. Mark Hamill would be the dream. Yeah. There's so many people that work on Star Wars. Like we definitely all have our like little, favorites for sure. We've done things with like Ming Na before, but it would be great to have her like unbox
She's
at a
the
segment
best.
with us. And she seems like she's done some social media posts for us in the past where we sent her some figures and she's like, I love it. And I have to say, like, Fennec Shand and her, in the show, she's a powerhouse.
Yes.
She's like business, she gets things done. And then her being like, I love these so much.
I know. Ming-Na to her characters are like not the same person.
So cute. But I would love to like meet her and actually have her unbox like her awesome figures or something like that. So that would be awesome. Chris, I'm sure you have like 10.
He pulls out a pad. He's like, actually,
my list.
let me call. No.
Yeah.
No, I think Katie Sackhoff would be a blast to work with on something. I mean, it's obvious that she's a deep fan of Star Wars. I mean, the photo that sold me on Katie being amazing beyond what I already thought was when she had her dad on set, and like the photo of him sitting there. Like that's fantastic. Like sharing that with family and stuff, and then she's fun. Like we've done things like the Bo-Katan helmet. I mean, retro figures. Like there's a lot of fun stuff there. So
well, I'm
she would be
it
my
for you.
personal choice. So.
We're gonna make it happen.
Please do.
Word.
Thank you guys.
We love you guys. Yeah. John.
All right. With the many figure repacks we've seen over the last few years that newer collectors may have missed, can we request the same? Another request, shocker. Can we request the same be done for some of the smaller vehicles and creatures that were released in adjacent lines during the TVC era? So these are things like the Bespin Cloud Car, the Dewback, Vader's TIE Advanced. They're all TVC worthy. And again, this is just comments we hear often in the Facebook group, is to bring back some of this stuff, and it's there and it's great tooling. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's all stuff we look at constantly, because like you said, TVC's world building line. I mean, it's all about that. So finding ways to do those things. I mean, we pipeline revealed a new small vehicle coming. So more on that later. I think you guys will enjoy that when we get details out. But yeah, we're constantly looking at that things, and it's balancing, because we can't do all of them all at once, kind of thing. It's finding the right times to bring those things out. And I think things like the Anti-America X-Wing that we did previously, like that was hitting a very square in the face, like fan ask, and I think we did a great job with that one.
Absolutely.
So finding ways like that to address things in the future is always in our minds.
Greatly appreciated. Thanks.
All right, Tom, close us out.
All right, one last question from Victoria here. This is about the Black Series helmets. They seem to be doing really well with collectors and prominent characters. Like I guess what she means here is the original version of Boba Fett, Stormtrooper, and Kylo Ren sold out and are very expensive on eBay. What are the chances we can get re-releases on some of those into collectors' hands?
Another request.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's always Victoria. Requests.
No, it's great. Like we love hearing the requests because it tells us what you guys want, and it's just it helps. It makes our job so much easier. So we love that. It's good to hear that that's what her fans and you guys are requesting. It's some carry forwards is something that we always look towards, and like the aftermarket value and things like that. So we'll definitely keep that in mind as we work with like retailers on what makes sense to carry forward. But yeah, those were awesome helmets. And I don't actually know, Chris, did you work? I think you worked on maybe like the original Boba Fett, but yeah, like these are all incredible helmets for us to bring back should we get the chance.
I worked on packaging art for the original Boba Fett helmet, but I wasn't at Hasbro at the time. I did that as a freelance illustrator. So
I got the
That's right.
the Book of Boba Fett one, and it because of my glasses, it doesn't fit
Chris
on my
worked on
big
that.
fat stupid head. I'm like, oh well. I still love
All
it.
right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching our panels and asking these questions afterwards. So we appreciate you all. And yeah, have a good day. We'll talk to you guys soon.